Suspected terrorists who invaded a concert hall on Friday night in Moscow, the Russian capital, and killed over 137 fun seekers with automatic rifles were on Sunday night brought before a court and charged for terrorism. It was gathered that the 4 suspects, 3 of whom bent double into the courtroom and the other wheeled into the courtroom on a wheelchair looking unconscious, all pleaded guilty to the charges. They were all looking severely beaten. Earlier videos showed moments some of them were captured. One of the suspects' ear was cut off and put inside his mouth to chew by Russian soldiers who overpowered him while running inside a forested trees. The suspect on the wheelchair has one of his eyes burst. Another suspect was photographed during interrogation to have been electrocuted with a likely 80 watts battery on his private parts, believed to be on his 2 testicles. The court in Moscow remanded them to pre-trial detention facility till May 22, 2024, according to news reporters who covered the court activities till after midnight on Sunday. It was gathered all were charged with committing an act of terrorism. The Islamic State group, ISIS Khorasan province, had said it carried out the Friday's outrage at Crocus City Hall. The group posted video showing moment the attackers started shooting at fun seekers at the 6,000 capacity hall in Moscow. The court session, as we gathered, went on until after midnight, spanning into Monday morning. The 4 suspects were identified by the court as Elajan Maizoev, Sedakrom Rachabalaysoda, Shamsuddin Fariduni and Mohammad Subi Fezov. They were charged under Russia's Terrorist Act for their alleged involvement in the Crocus City Hall terrorist attack. The 4 suspects were Tajikistan. Tajikistan government in a video condemned the terrorist attack and made expression that the country opposes terrorism and intends to fight it together with Russia, according to the Tajikistan Prime Minister, Goers, who left an entry in the book of condolences at the Russian embassy in Dushanbe. A 15-year-old boy named Islam also narrated more people from being killed during the terrorist attack on Friday by thus risking his own life to shout for people to use the safety door and move away from the direction the terrorists have taken position. The little boy said he considered the lives of more people safe than his own life. "I didn't leave anyone behind," the little boy said. The Russian military in a video gave awards medals to the Russians who apprehended the Moscow Crocus City Hall suspected terrorists. Amongst the men that received the medal for combat distinction was the soldier who cut off one of the terrorists' ears. "Russia is not for beginners. We will take revenge on everyone, and those who are involved, regardless of which country they come from and what status they have become our men and legitimate targets. Just wait for us, bastards," said Deputy President of the Security Council of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, telling the terrorists that the hand of justice will reach them. The graphic video released by ISIS, showing attackers firing on the crowd inside the concert hall, has been verified as genuine, according to BBC. But no Russian official has acknowledged the claim, and Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said in a news conference on Monday that it was inappropriate to comment on it until the investigation had been completed. Dmitry also said that because of the tense international situation, there was little collaboration between countries on fighting terrorism. It would be recalled that France has raised its terror alert to a high level, with President Macron saying on Monday that the Islamic State group behind the Moscow attack had also recently been targeting France. "We learned rescuers are continuing to search the rubble of the concert hall for victims, and regional officials said the operation would carry on through Tuesday afternoon," according to BBC. Masked police brought the suspects into Basmany District Court in the Russian capital in Moscow on Sunday night. The videos of the brutal interrogation sessions were apparently leaked by Russian security forces, and reports suggest they were forced to confess. When asked by news reporters about the torture of the suspects, the Kremlin spokesperson, Peskov, refused to comment. The suspects while at the court shows that Mirziyoyev and OsazuwaA had black eyes and the latter's ear was heavily bandaged, with a video from it being cut off during his arrest. Mirziyoyev also appeared to have a torn plastic bag wrapped around his neck. The face of the man identified as Faridini was badly swollen, while the man named as Fezov appeared to lose consciousness as he was brought into court in a wheelchair wearing a thin hospital gown, and he appeared to have an eye missing, according to the videos of the court session posted online. All were held in a glass-paneled booth and guarded by masked police during their time in court, and a court statement on the Telegram messaging service said Mirziyoyev had admitted his guilt in full, while OsazuwaA also admitted guilt. The men were identified as citizens of Tajikistan, Russia's state news agency TASS said. All four are to be held in pre-trial detention until at least the 22nd of May, the court stated in the Telegram message. BBC reported that the attack has raised questions about Russia's moratorium on the death penalty, with several senior officials calling for it to be lifted. However, Mr. Peskov said the Russian authorities are not taking part in this discussion. Four gunmen had on Friday night stormed the Krokus City Hall in Krasnogorsk, a northern Moscow suburb, and began firing on some of the estimated 6,000 fun seekers who were attending a rock concert. The attackers also set fires which engulfed the venue and caused the roof to collapse. Russian officials said 137 people were killed and more than 100 injured. The men who appeared in court on Sunday, we learned, were arrested in the Bryansk region around 14 hours after the attack, according to the statement credited to Russia's Federal Security Service, FSB. Bryansk is around 400 kilometers, 250 miles, southwest of Moscow. Russia President Vladimir Putin has said that the attackers were being helped by Ukraine, and Kyiv had prepared a window to allow them to cross the border and escape into its territory. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky on Saturday, in a self-recorded video broadcast, rejected the claims, and his military intelligence directorate said it was absurd to suggest the men were trying to cross a heavily mined border, teeming with hundreds of thousands of Russian soldiers, to reach safety. Adrienne Watson, the U.S. National Security Council spokeswoman, said that ISIS bore sole responsibility for this attack. There was no Ukrainian involvement whatsoever. 7 other people have been arrested in Russia suspected of aiding the attack, according to local media news reports. BBC also reported that the U.S. warned Moscow earlier this month of a possible attack in Russia and at large gatherings before issuing a public advisory to citizens in the country. The alert was roundly dismissed by the Kremlin as propaganda and an attempt to meddle in its presidential election. Washington said after the attack that it had no reason to doubt the Islamic State claim. It would not be the first time Islamic State and its allies have attacked Russia or its interests abroad. The group claimed the bombing of a Russian aircraft over Egypt in 2015 with 224 people on board, most of them Russian citizens. It also claimed a 2017 bomb attack on the St. Petersburg metro, which killed 15 people. Security analysts say the group considers Russia a primary target for a number of reasons, including the country's role in destroying Islamic State's power base in Syria while securing President Bashar al-Assad's rule, Moscow's 2 brutal wars in Muslim-majority Chechnya in 1994-2009, and the Soviet-era invasion of Afghanistan. The US and other Western intelligence agencies have said the attack was probably carried out by the Khorasan branch of Islamic State, known as ISIS-K, which chiefly operates in Afghanistan and parts of Central Asia. It is among the most able and active of the Islamic State offshoots, and was responsible for deadly suicide attacks at Kabul airport during the chaotic American withdrawal of August and September 2021. ISIS-K frequently criticizes President Vladimir Putin in its propaganda.
OsazuwaA Media, bringing you the news in a more digital way.